Local 4 News starts now with a breaking news alert.
Far from over. That's the message from the families of Madison, Tate, Hannah, and Justin tonight.
It's time for the school to pony up.
The focus already on the next stage of this legal fight.
Stop accepting the excuses.
A renewed push for justice coming just hours after a jury decided James Crumbley is guilty.
Guilty of involuntary manslaughter.
That historic decision coming after 10 hours of closed-door deliberations, and it tops our news at 11. Glad you're with us. I'm Devin Skillian.
I'm Kimberly Gill. The jury asked to continue working past the usual closing time. The judge allowed it, and shortly after 7 p.m. we got word a verdict had been reached. That breaking news being pushed directly to your phone at 7:03 p.m. and you watched it all happen live right here on Local 4. It is the second of a duet of convictions that make history. The first being, of course, his wife, Jennifer Crumbley, on February 6th.
And then tonight, a second guilty verdict. This case now setting precedent that the parents of a gunman can be held responsible for not doing more to stop a mass shooting. Now, despite the legal victory, Oakland County Prosecutor Karen McDonald says there is no time to take a victory lap.
Her focus remains on making sure a tragedy like this never happens again.
We have to focus on prevention, and that's going to require us to understand and accept that it's not just one thing. It's the #1 cause of death for children in this country. So I refuse to take a victory lap with these prosecutions. It will not bring back these kids. We have a lot more work to do.
So you include the gunman. This is the third time the parents of Madison, Tate, Justin, and Hannah were in the courtroom forced to relive the worst day of their lives. They've been through the shooter's sentencing and his parents' convictions, but despite the pain, they all say the fourth leg in this case is yet to come.
Mara McDonald is live at the courthouse tonight. Mara, they had nothing but gratitude for Karen McDonald and her team.
They are so appreciative, Kimberly, but you are right. Here's the situation. These families have always said they view this as a marathon, not a sprint. They've gotten through those first 3 legs. The shooters pleading out. Now the parents both convicted. That fourth leg, well, that's the Oxford schools, and they're ready to fight. To this day, and after both of these verdicts, do you guys think that you still really know what happened that day, and is everybody fessed up to what happened that day?
Absolutely not. No.
And that is why, for these parents, accountability does not just reside with the Crumbleys. They want answers out of Oxford schools, answers they say have been short in coming, now 2.5 years into this agony.
The school is protected, you know, so we're ready to take it on.
Taking on governmental immunity, which is what school districts have from lawsuits as well as criminal prosecution. It's one of the reasons you've seen no charges come from the prosecutor's office when it comes to the school district. All these families are fighting it. There's no telling if they'll be successful, but Madison's mom, who has spoken so gut-wrenchingly at the school board, has at least this satisfaction.
The one thing, whether they stay or they leave like they should, they know our kids' names.
But they also see a path beyond legal action against the district, and that is prevention.
It's a matter of getting the message out and stopping this from happening again. And that doesn't just, that is not going to happen just by if we stop at the school district, right? So there's a journey beyond that.
Accountability is not just a word that we've been throwing around loosely. I mean, it's what we want. It's absolutely necessary.
Back here live, I want to thank Nicole Beausoleil, Buck, Steve St. Juliana, as well as Craig Schilling for taking the time to talk to us one-on-one after what has been a draining, emotional day for all of them. They had plenty to say, but so did Prosecutor Karen McDonald. My colleague Victor Williams has been in the courthouse with me all day. Victor, prosecutor said she's not into victory laps. There's more at stake here.
Yeah, that's right, Mara. You heard her, and she basically is saying that this is not going to go down as a win in her book because you had so many lives lost because of this one situation.
These parents could have prevented this tragedy that was foreseeable with just the smallest of efforts. They could have prevented this shooting and saved these kids' lives and protected the hundreds of kids in the school that day.
With now both Jennifer and James Crumbley being found guilty of involuntary manslaughter in connection to the tragic Oxford school shooting, Oakland County Prosecutor Karen McDonald is reacting to the verdict.
This verdict does not bring back their children, but it does mark a moment of accountability and will hopefully be another step to address and end and prevent gun violence.
With the parents of the victims by her side, Prosecutor McDonald declared that this is only the beginning of a long fight against not only gun violence, but a chance to take accountability as well.
One of these terrible events happens and all we're talking about is the shooter or the people we're prosecuting. But there's so much more. There's so much more. So this started with one question. Where did he get that gun? Where did he get it? And how did he get it? And that is a question that every single one of us as mothers and fathers asked.
She even has a message for other prosecutors who may potentially find themselves in similar situations going forward.
Be brave, ask tough questions. And if they don't answer, then keep trying. Because I asked the question, where did he get the gun? And that led to a lot more questions. And that led to disturbing, upsetting, and egregious facts.
Once again, echoing the words of Prosecutor McDonald, this verdict will not bring anyone back, but it's at least a step in the right direction. Reporting live in Oakland County tonight, Victor Williams, Local 4.
All right, Victor. Now, we are also learning tonight civil lawsuits against Oxford Community Schools and a handful of employees are being filed by the attorneys representing the victims' families.
And we're posting all of those details to clickondetroit.com right now.
You can expect more on this groundbreaking legal battle starting at 4:30 tomorrow morning. Live interviews with legal experts discussing the case.
Our Christy McDonald will be joining the morning team at 7 to discuss her thoughts on what will happen next. And you can count on us to have the most in-depth and up-to-date coverage through sentencing on April 8th.
A hearing for the man at the center of a chase and arrest last month in Sterling Heights has been postponed. Gary Young's preliminary exam was adjourned today pending the completion of an independent investigation into the actions of the two arresting officers. Young is accused of beating up his girlfriend and her teenage daughter and then leading police on a high-speed chase before he was arrested, which you see here in this rather chaotic scene after running from his vehicle. There was physical force involved, tasers, a canine, all used during the arrest. Two officers are on paid leave. That is standard operating procedure here. But Young faces 8 charges, including 5 felonies.
A man from Warren is facing federal hate crime charges over messages spray painted in Macomb County back in 2021. The FBI says David Bluer put swastikas along with the word die on the predominantly black Greater New Life Church in Roseville. He then went to Crumbley Park in Warren and defaced a public bathroom with a racist slur. If convicted, he faces up to a year in prison for each offense.
President Biden in Saginaw County, Michigan today as part of his presidential campaign. Landed late this afternoon at MBS Airport and then headed to an event with supporters at someone's private home. But it is the second time in less than 2 years President Biden has visited the Saginaw area. Both Biden and former President Trump expected to put a lot of time and energy into wooing Michigan voters ahead of November's anticipated rematch.
Well, after a delay, the Trenton Stacks demolition will happen tomorrow. Grosse Ile police say the Trenton Channel Power Plant smokestacks will be blown up tomorrow morning. There will be some temporary road closures in the area between 6:40 a.m. and 9 a.m. A viewing area is also being set up at West River between Ruthmere and Marlboro. Although everything is a go right now, the demo could be rescheduled if the weather doesn't cooperate.
And you will see those pictures because we do love watching things fall down.
Yes, that's right. We'll be covering it.
Yeah.
Let's get a check on the forecast as we inch closer here to the weekend.
A live look at our sky cam pointing at the Detroit riverfront from Windsor. Let's get over to forewarned meteorologist Kim Adams. Weather problems for bringing those down tomorrow?
No, it should be fine tomorrow, but there are some problems tonight, not here in Metro Detroit, but down to our south that we need to talk about in just a moment. But there are a few scattered showers still continuing, especially on the east side in Warren, also downtown Detroit. A few sprinkles there, but I want to focus our attention to the south. There's one severe thunderstorm warning just outside of Cleveland. Cleveland had a tornado warning just an hour ago, but in central Ohio, there are unconfirmed reports right now coming out of Logan, Ohio, which is just outside of Columbus, of a mass casualty of a trailer park being hit by a tornado that was as large as a half a mile wide. Again, this is unconfirmed. National Weather Service has confirmed a tornado, but whether or not it has caused this damage, we do know there were several tornado watches and tornado warnings throughout the night that I've been tracking through central Ohio. So that's something that we will be following, and obviously the news department will be following as well. But we were just a couple of hours away from a big severe weather event to our south, but we just were on the northern fringe of it and only got the showers here in Metro Detroit. As we look ahead to tomorrow, it will be a much quieter day ahead. We'll talk about the weekend forecast as well coming up.